Hello and welcome to episode 37 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I am Jeff Mann.
And this is going to be kind of a different sort of podcast. It's going to be a very, I think, more laid back. Just Jeff and Darby talk about video games for maybe an hour-ish.
Hour plus.
Mostly because there was no news.
We're at the end of the year.
It's the end of the year. It's we're literally recording this on December 30th. It's almost New Year, so everyone have a happy New Year. But
we hope you had a happy.
Or
New
I hope you
Year's.
had a happy New Year, depending on when Darby gets this up.
Probably after.
Probably after. We'll see. I'm on vacation. Come on. So because of that, we missed last week because of Christmas and stuff. So I wanted to have something go out, but there was no news. So I just figured me and Jeff would just kind of get in here and just casually reminisce about the year and just talk about general things. And it helps a lot because, Jeff, you got a new console since we last were on the podcast.
I did. Okay. So.
Which, if you're listening to this, you probably are trying to all right, he got an Xbox a few weeks ago. What could he has a PlayStation, he has a Switch. What does he have? What do you have, Jeff?
PlayStation VR.
The Nerds at Large officially has a VR.
We have a VR.
And we have been in the virtual world because Jeff brought it over to my house and we tried it.
Question. Have you told Will that I had this?
I don't know if I did.
So this might be how you find out, Will.
There you go, Will. You will be able to also experience VR at some point if Jeff is kind enough to let you. We'll see, Will.
Well, he is champion.
Yeah, he is the champ. That is correct. Yes. Jeff, how have you liked your PSVR?
I loved it so far.
Yeah. I guess we're just we can just talk about some of the games we have. You got the bundle with Skyrim, but then you went and got a bunch of different demos and stuff.
So many demos.
You have Resident Evil 7, right?
I got Resident Evil 7.
We have Until Dawn, Rush of Blood, and I'm trying to think of other the Keep Talking Nobody Explodes. Those are the ones that you have full games, and
Accounting
then
Plus,
and then we did demos for things like Job Simulator, Eve Valkyrie. Trying to think of other ones.
We got PlayStation Worlds that had the heist thing.
Right.
So yeah, again, like I said, a lot of demos because the bundle itself came with the PlayStation VR Demo Disc 2. And then there's a free download for the first one, which has some crossover, but a lot of it's different.
Right.
So that's about 24 demos right there.
There's a lot of different games on there. And in varying degrees of quality and varying degrees of
you played
genres.
some horror thing?
that was not great.
Especially since we had access to Resident Evil.
Yeah. So I guess just generally talking about I think mine and Jeff's, correct me if I'm wrong about you, but I think both of our only experience with VR before this was just a few minute demo in a Best Buy once that we went to. So, I had not really much experience, and obviously some people get sick with it and everything like that. I have had some motion sickness with certain things, but for the most part, I think the system runs really well. It's comfortable on your, the headset's comfortable on your face and stuff. It's definitely something I don't think I could do for an hour-long span, though you did that. You have been there. I think it's something I would definitely have to do in more short chunks.
I think it definitely depends on the game.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Accounting Plus was the one I mainly did that for, and it's, it's not that big of a deal or whatever.
Yeah.
Not strenuous.
Generally, from what I've found so far, I think, games that have, this is obvious, but games that have, less motion are a lot easier. Yeah. When we tried Skyrim and stuff, I don't think I ever actually ended up having Skyrim on, but we had a lot of other people in the room who tried it, and everyone said just the act of moving around and stuff did not feel great.
Yeah. I guess so people know, you can play Skyrim 2 different ways. You can do it with the Move controllers, or you can do it with the regular controllers. If you do it with the Move controllers, since they don't have a stick to move around in, you do the whole point and click move thing.
Yeah.
Which is weird for Skyrim.
And not how you would want to play this massive 100-hour RPG having to click to move forward with everything. It's not really the way you'd want to play that.
And if you play with the controller, this is just my experience. I technically didn't do it for that long, and From what I've read, people would disagree with me. Like,
I
general
know,
things
yeah,
have been
I
positive for Skyrim. Maybe I just need to give it another chance, or whatever. That's like the only thing I tried that actually made me feel kind of But I don't know. It just really felt weird. It did give me a headache or whatever, and it just felt like I wasn't really moving. It was more like my character was more than about any other game I played in the last while. Just my character was floating and moving.
Right.
So,
and it's just the weird. I don't know. There's just, I mean, Skyrim's just not made for this, I think. I mean, it's just an old game, and just the textures are not good for you, like, actually moving and having the, like, motion blur, stuff like that. And I don't know. I will say, I think some VR coverage is, like, a little exaggeratedly towards positive, because I think just people want these things to work and people want it to be good like this. We're still very much in the early stages of VR.
Yeah. It's always interesting when, I look at, because there are a fair amount of VR games. I want to make sure I'm getting the good ones, especially since, they cost money and everything. So I look at some reviews and stuff. The sites that have VR in the name normally, or also put in sites say PlayStation in the name, are a lot more positive about this stuff.
I wonder why.
Yeah, then I just look at Metacritic because I'm just curious how this compares. Most of them are in the 70 range.
Right. I mean, I've even seen it even in like major sites like IGN and other places or whatever. Just, I mean, like if you like rewind back to when PSVR like first came out, and like, people were even talking about like the Batman, the Arkham thing or whatever, and just talking about all these other things like, these are amazing things or whatever, and all this. I think part of that is because, you have the initial like, holy crap, I'm in VR. You can look all around, and it is a crazy experience to do that. But I do think with some of these things, we do need to take a few steps back with some of them, and like, realize these are like very small experiences, and they still have a long ways to go.
I agree.
I just don't want people who like, don't have a VR or whatever to get the wrong idea with it. And I don't know how you feel, but I still feel, obviously I'm not like a VR expert. I've played 2 nights now when Jeff has brought it over for like a collective maybe 2 hours. But I still think that if you're someone, obviously if money is not an issue, sure, go for it.
Or if you get it as a gift.
Yeah, or if you get it as a gift like Jeff did. I still think this is something to where, like, if you're trying to make a decision between, like, am I going to get a Switch or, like, am I going to get a VR? I say go for the Switch.
I actually saw on Rosetta someone asking that question. Should I get a Switch or VR? Switch.
I think there's VR, like, I mean, Sony hasn't completely shown they're going to support it, like, consistently yet. And even if they do, this is just, I feel too early. It's an awesome thing for, like, a party or for, like, a group of friends like we've had like this. But I don't think the experiences are meaty enough to, like, that's basically all I'm getting at, is that.
Yeah, and here's obviously, I wouldn't have this bottom my own, but just, trying to look at a more positive light as I have it. Hopefully things just get better, with the more media experiences and all that. But at least right now, the experiences aren't exactly that meaty. And some of them are fun in the party settings. But at least the prices, for the most part, are reflecting that.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think they're doing a very good job. And they're very generous with all those demos and stuff. And just like, you
can at least try this out.
Right. Yeah. Which I think is very good. And, I mean, again, like, for the price, it's really not, the price is not that high for what it is, for it being, a pretty robust VR experience with this. And, I mean, just from a pure, like, fun factor, and a pure, like, you think of, you dreamed about being in VR stuff as a kid and everything. And, like, people have been making movies about, like, VR stuff since the 80s and everything. And now it's a real thing. Like, the other night we were sitting in here, and, like, one of us would be in the headset, and we were playing the Keep Talking.
Nobody Explodes.
What's the actual name? Is it?
They Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes.
Okay. That game is so much fun. We were just sitting there. I guess if you don't know this game, it's like one person is in the VR, and it's not just in VR. Like this game's in the other things.
I think it's best in VR.
I think it's awesome in VR. In the VR version of this, the person wearing the headset has a bomb that has different like panels, and it can have different puzzles and stuff you'd have to do to solve it. And the people outside of VR have like basically a 20-page like instruction manual thing. So the person that's looking at the bomb has to be like, okay, well, there's like 5 wires, and we flip to the wire section. Okay, are there any reds? Okay, no.
Yeah.
Are there 3 yellows? Yes. Okay, cut the last one. Like, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think Darby made it clear, but just in case, just say flat out, yeah. We can't, the people who are looking at the page can't see the bomb, and the person who in the VR can only see the bomb and not the pages.
Right. And I feel like that game is very enhanced by the VR because it just makes it's really cool when you're sitting here in this room and like, I actually like, I didn't have the VR when this stuff started happening, but you guys said like the lights start like flickering and doing all this
There's
stuff.
an alarm clock and you guys like, Jeff, turn off that noise. Like, I don't know. Because it's my first time doing it. I was like, let's show the controls.
Yeah, we were really confused. Like, what is this noise?
Jeff, what'd you do? Nothing. But yeah, I think that's one of the best experiences we've had so far in VR. That game.
I think that's my favorite. But then there's also like I love that there's experiences that like my mom and dad who definitely aren't gaming. You know, they don't game much and they don't know how to like work controls and stuff. We put them in the is it Ocean Descent is the name of it in the VR Worlds collection, and it's this thing where you're in like a diving cage or whatever, and you go down, you see fish everywhere, and then a shark encounters you at the end, and it's an awesome experience, and my parents like absolutely loved it, and they did not have to know how to do anything. It was just a very passive experience.
And then we had your sister who does have experience with this, who did the London heist thing,
and she's like standing up and like shooting people, and she's like, oh, this is great. She's like, I'm made for this.
Yeah, which
is kind of scary. My sister shot a bunch of dudes and then said that I was made for this, and I'm like,
and she's a mother of 2.
Gotta raise them right.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. VR is pretty cool, Jeff.
Yeah, I think it's, of course, a thing. Well, yeah, the experiences are smaller and everything and stuff. They're definitely, if you take away the VR for all these games, they're nothing. They're whatever. VR definitely enhances it. I feel like and it makes a lot of those things a little more memorable, even if they are technically the best games.
Right.
Like Accounting Plus, I'll probably remember for a while, mainly just for the VR thing. It was funny, and you just great the Rick and Morty humor, and that I can't remember Raw Data I think was on the demo list, that shooter one. If you listen to this, I'm not a big shooting guy. I had a lot of fun with that demo though.
Yeah, and like not that it looked bad by any means, but us looking from the outside, it was like okay, it was like generic shooting with robots and stuff, but like Jeff got out there and was like that was really cool because when you're in it, I'm sure that.
I was getting the hang of it and just kind of move around. It felt badass.
I have a video, like, if you don't mind, I might, like, post on the Nerds at Large, like, Facebook.
I kept on wondering for that. They're probably filming this.
Because it was so funny, because Jeff's just, like, zooming around like this, and, like you would, like, reload your gun.
Yeah, you had to put it to your side to reload.
Yeah.
Tell me how to figure that out.
It was really funny, especially since the VR headset and the Move controllers, like, glow, like, bright colors. Mm-hmm. So it was really funny. So, yeah.
Let me think. I guess if you want to, we just give some quick highlights of some other things.
Yeah.
This is a game I haven't played much of, but I really liked when I played Static. This is a game where you had your hands in the thing. So people don't know, this is a puzzle game. Obviously VR, where you use the DualShock controller, and in the game you look down at the DualShock controller. It's like your hands are in this like handcuff things that itself is a puzzle. So you're moving around the controller. It looks like you're moving around the puzzle thing, and each level of the puzzle is completely different. The controls are different. So part of it is figuring out what button does what,
right,
and figuring out how to get yourself out of the puzzle.
Yeah, I mean, I only played a little bit of it, but it seems like it's very interesting, and it makes it like it would just be a simple puzzle game, but it's really cool because you're like in this room and you're like this test experiment thing.
Probably not as impressive as it seemed, but I found it interesting when I first did it, and it could just because I was in VR, I couldn't see my arms. Even when I was moving my controller in random ways, it looked like in VR my arms in the game were moving like my arms in real life. Very close to it.
That one was like really good with it, and then I did the Until Dawn one, and I raised my arms, and it's just this like limp arm that's like going all over the place, and didn't make any sense.
Yeah. And I mentioned Accounting Plus. I really enjoyed that game. It was a really quick thing.
It's just an acid trip.
Yeah, you need to do it at some point.
I know I do, yeah.
Also, for you trophy whores, there is a platinum, and every single other trophy is gold. And from what I've seen, the trophies aren't that hard.
Does Greg Miller, is he aware of this?
It came out right before the break, I think, pretty much. So he probably aware of it now. He probably already platinumed it.
Probably.
But it was a fun thing. Oh, yeah. This is such a weird one. Danganronpa, that thing.
Oh, I don't even understand what was going on.
It was interesting. Yeah, it was a demo in the greatest sense, like not much happening. It just kind of explained it to you. And I don't even think it's for a real game or whatever. I think it was just like a little tech demo thing the devs did. But just even me doing it and what I know from the Danganronpa games, like by all accounts, they're games I probably would really like.
Yeah.
If they made a VR game like full Danganronpa and they did it in VR, I'd buy it like in a heartbeat. Like being in there is actually cool with the whole class and then all the crazy anime stuff going on.
I mean, it looked cool. I just had absolutely no freaking clue.
I don't think it was supposed to unless you're really into Danganronpa. You probably would understand more. Yeah, because it was kind of just throwing you in there and it was like really short and whatever. So I assumed that was a game. So that was just something they made. As far as I know, as far as I know, it's just something they just made. But again, they make a full game of that. I'm 100% in.
I could see them maybe doing it now that they spent. That seems like that would be like a very like taxing thing just to spend the time to make that and then not do anything with it.
Or it might be more than I know. I guess I haven't really researched it that much. Probably will later. Couple more shout out things. I'm trying to think. Yeah, sorry. Oh, we did that Playroom VR thing. That
was actually a lot of fun. I expected that to be a lot worse than it was. I mean, it's obviously like I think it would only be fun for a little bit, but just to show people VR. It's a pretty
we kind of get to, be fun, whenever we get someone new to VR in here.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, if we do it too many times, it get old for us, but
right.
It's a little fun thing. Let me try that. Oh, you tried the Last Guardian VR thing.
Yeah, that was actually really cool. Just because as soon as I got in there, like Trico, if you know anything about Last Guardian, the giant bird dog creature, you don't realize just how big that thing is until it's standing right above you, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
That's just one thing that VR does so well is just the sense of scale with that. And I actually legitimately, if you never tried any VR, it'll legitimately give you the feeling in your stomach like at a roller coaster sometimes if it hits you right. Yeah. I don't know if you felt that yet, but I felt that several times.
I don't think technically I've done any of those. You've had those couple games. I don't think I played those games yet because I saw you guys do it. It's I'll do those on my own later.
Okay, you should try The Last Guardian.
Oh, no. I plan on trying that and Drive Club and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of Drive Club, I'm kind of just going down the demo list right now because all we have left. We can just do those and then move on.
Yeah.
You played Drive Club.
I did. I think racing games are kind of going to be the future of VR, if not not the sole future, but I think that racing games are the obvious fit for VR. It's the obvious fit to make the immersion, it's just the easiest thing to do and feel like, yep, I'm actually driving a car. It's really cool. It was a little disorienting. I'm hoping that future games will, just get some of the things more down pat. I felt like I was going to throw up when I did crash and things like that. But just that basically just taught me the idea of racing where I don't really like racing games that much, but in VR, I think I might actually like them.
So the same thing I said earlier with that raw data was shooting in. I feel like I'll actually maybe get into those games.
Yeah. Just that's the great. VR can just make simple things just a lot more fun.
Speaking of simple things, a lot more fun. Job Simulator.
Yes, Job Simulator is probably my favorite. Just pure VR thing, to show off VR because you can just. It has a great sense of humor and you can just do anything.
Yeah. So. Yeah, me and Darby both played that demo. It's this is so absurd and it's short and everything. And, everyone's talked about who has VR. Yeah. PS VR is we all got to try it. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because it's just such dumb fun. You can just
throw things on. Kind of have different styles. I guess when we see how it does in a full game, you just immediately did whatever you wanted. Screw everything. I kind of followed what they wanted me to do, see how that goes. So
I think that fits our personalities. So
partly one of the seasons you did
Right.
Yeah, you didn't do it. Want to see how that goes. So that's definitely one of those first full games I will probably buy.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, but it's just even down to like there was a bouncy ball and I like bounced it down the aisle of like one of the like office things or whatever, and this thin thing, I don't know how I even got it there, but the physics like felt real. It felt like when I bounced it up in the air and it bounced like you would think a bouncy ball would. And I think even our like roommate Alex, like he played a game where he like almost set something down on a desk because it was in VR. It's like it can really like.
I think he did that during the keep talking.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay, it's just.
Well, I guess do we have it? Like, I want to at some point like just talk to you about like before we move on, where like. How do you feel about the future of VR and like the future of PSVR being supported now that you actually have one and like you have a horse in the race?
Well, I had one more game I want to talk about. This kind of fits in though.
Okay.
Because it is for a future game. Yeah. It's kind of this thing, I guess, kind of like my Xbox in a way. So that's it's exclusive machine, just kind of like hoping they support and stuff. But I'm being perfectly honest, I'm looking forward to more games, future games on PSVR than my Xbox. But
yeah.
But
I mean, giving you more reasons.
Well, yeah. Last demo, I want to talk about Moss.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you didn't play it, but you saw
yeah.
friend Olivia play it. I played it. That's one of the first things I tried out because I saw a lot of interesting things about it. And it's like, this is different. I want to try that out. So people who don't know, Moss is, I guess, like a 3D action kind of game, kind of Zelda-y in a way. But you controlling a mouse, but you're also kind of playing this God type thing that kind of helps out Moss the mouse.
It's third person. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's not, you wouldn't think third person immediately when you think VR, but it's but you can like you move different things to like let the mouse go through, and then like I think Olivia was playing it for like 15 minutes. I mean, not that long. They were playing it for like half of the demo before we even thought like, oh, you could probably like turn all the way around. It's like, yep, you can like look under things and do all this. Yeah,
that's one of the first things I do is like, oh yeah, I can still in my head. It's like there's a quarter. I looked over there and was able to see the the next room, like what was coming up. I had no idea what it meant, but that was kind of cool things. And it's kind of felt like an old school Zelda-y in a way.
Yeah, with the puzzles definitely felt like that. Yeah.
And definitely had charm. That little mouse is charming.
Mm-hmm. The adorable little mouse.
Had a good little cliffhanger thing where, spoilers for a like 10-minute demo, you go in the last thing and then a spooky snake comes up that's, an actual size snake. Looks like it's about to eat moss. So I'm excited for that game. And as far as I know, it's coming out in February.
Okay.
So
that's good.
I am planning on getting that one for sure.
Cool.
And just talking about the future, I need you guys to do more research because I still got past games I need to play and see what games are coming up.
Yeah. But
it still seems like they're still planning on supporting this. Like they keep on bringing up games and people kind of like, even we were like that, but now we're like, give us the VR.
You'll suddenly go from being annoyed to being annoyed if they don't say VR stuff.
Yeah. Weird how things change really quickly.
So fast.
As far as like, and my game ahead of myself, I feel like we could potentially getting one of the first like big AAA killer apps potentially this upcoming month. The Impatient.
Right, which this is the Supermassive.
Yeah, it's the Until Dawn prequel.
Right.
Yeah, and from what it's first person psychological horror and choices matter in this game.
Do you think that that'll legitimately become a killer app
potentially
in the sense of like commercial, like everyone's buying VRs for this?
May not everyone, but I can see be one of those things that people the next being one of the bit exclusive that maybe people the next step or be thing that puts people over the edge for potentially that are on the fence.
Yeah, I mean, like I would like so, but I don't feel like. I mean, I feel like if it was gonna be that, I'd probably be hearing more about it now. I feel like a lot of people aren't even aware of Impatient, like unless you're like focusing in on this stuff. I mean, it's kind of like a hidden agenda. I don't think a lot of people, unless you're kind of into the stuff, knew about it.
Yeah, but it's kind of things just compared to other VR games.
Yeah. I mean that is true. I just I don't think that this version of PSVR is if it hasn't blown up at this point, I don't think it's gonna blow up in the sense that maybe they or other people are thinking of until I think it's gonna probably be the next version of it, and it's probably gonna be several years. I don't think it's gonna hit that critical mass until, even though $300, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
is definitely cheap in the grand scheme of things. I don't think it's really going to catch on big time until it's significantly cheaper and the hardware is like way more ubiquitous to the point where everyone has it. I think, like, having it now, it's not a bad thing, but I think it's just an early adopter thing. And I think you're going to keep getting these. And unfortunately, I do think there's going to be another PSVR at some point that's probably not compatible. But it's just part of the price of being an early adopter. You're able to do this in 2017, whereas everyone else will be doing it in 2021 or something.
Yep, I'll know what I'm doing. I know what games I like, kind of stuff.
You're already looking like, I think they could already hire you as a VR demoer because you've done it about like 3 times now.
I've done it for
more than that.
I've done it for over half a dozen people at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, but
hire him, Sony.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I need to do more research against future games. Just playing catch up, but impatient this upcoming month, and then last month after that. Play that. I'm very looking forward to Impatient now. I kind of blew it off. It's like, I'm not going to play it.
You're never going to get to play it.
Yeah, but now it's
Jeff, you now have basically everything. You have every platform except for, I guess, you don't have a gaming PC. That's the only thing left. And then, like, 2 months from now, we'll be like, Jeff has a new gaming platform. It's a PC.
State of the art.
All right. Well, I guess that was our VR talk. Jeff and Darby's
more in the
VR
future.
Talk. Yeah. Now, like, that's going to be another... I'm, once again, just like I was, whatever, last month and the month before when you got an Xbox. Whatever it was. I'm very happy about this because it gives us another thing to talk about. And another, like, it takes away another one of our blind spots for this podcast because you have VR. You're basically just going to, like, cover up all of our gaming talk. I'm not going to be able to talk about anything. It's going to be like Jeff
There's
knows
still
all.
time and money to consider Darby.
This is true. This is true. Yeah. Well, Jeff, I kind of just want to, in our like loose just gaming hour talking, I want to talk about just 2017.
Okay.
Because it's been a pretty crazy year. Some say one of the best years of all time
I'd probably
for
say
video games. Do you think that's not hyperbole?
I wouldn't say so. Just looking at like all the games great games that happened this year, even compared to definitely the last couple of years. But I would maybe it's hard for me to particularly say the best overall because a lot of the other ones people say the best, like 2007 and like 97, 98, one of those.
Yeah. There's a few that everyone always throws out.
Yeah. 97, 98, I can't remember which one it is. I think it might be 98. We were too young to remember that, so we have no... And even 2007, we were dumb kids.
Yeah, and we were not nearly as into this or not paying attention nearly as much. Yeah. Like, some games just fell into our lap. We weren't like this year, me and you know every game we're getting before we're getting it. We're just, we were not like that back then.
But even I can just kind of, just looking at all these lists and like, this probably is at least up there.
I think so. The weird thing is, like, for me, I feel like, and maybe this is, like, maybe it's just because we're in this year and it's all, like, fresh, and this is probably the year, obviously I've been doing a podcast about it all this year. This is the year I've paid the closest attention to gaming news and stuff out of any year in my life, so maybe it's also because of that, but I feel like gaming, like, games-wise, software-wise and everything, this was by far one of the best years in history. Just look at like the game of the year list, and it's like I could make an argument for any of these.
And here's the thing.
And go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you look at some of the top games, like I'm just going to use the Game Awards as an example. Any of those 5 games, and even games that didn't make the list that people love, like Nier's the one that comes up a lot. For us, that stuff that didn't make that list.
Even Pyre, stuff like that.
Yeah, you can make a case for easily for that to probably win in any other year. Right. Like, especially the last 5 or so years, we'll say that. But there were kind of more front runners, like Zelda and kind of Mario and Horizon kind of being there. But I feel like when you insert Persona the way that is, now that people know Persona, prefer that in as well. In any other year, that would do a whole lot better.
And
Horizon would clean house.
Horizon would have, like, honestly, you look at almost any of the last 5 years, Horizon would have won every single one of them if it was.
Same with Zelda. Same with maybe Mario. But people have this thing about sometimes, 3D platformers and stuff with that stuff.
Yeah. But this one, I think Mario was, and we'll get more on that later because I beat Mario. So we'll talk more about that later. But I think Mario was good and special enough. I think if Zelda wasn't released this year, Mario would have won Game of the Year. I do think that there. But I think what makes this, from a games perspective, it would be one thing. Obviously, we talk about the top amazing games, and they were like the those top games were better this year than almost any other year. But what I think, if it was just that and that was all we were talking about, then I would say this year wasn't at like one of the best ever. The difference was every single week some great game was coming out.
To go like the smaller games, we got Remains of Edith Finch, Night in the Woods,
Sonic Mania,
Sonic Mania. We got Life is Strange, which we haven't gone to, which by all accounts like it's really good. We've only played episode 1. Hellblade, Neo,
yes,
Resident Evil 7.
No one talks about Neo and Resident Evil 7 anymore because it feels like it was ages ago. That was
Resident Evil 7. I mean, it's kind of came out again recently because the DLC is apparently really good.
Yeah, people are talking about it
a little more
recently. Yeah, but I mean, that's
Crash Bandicoot.
This year Crash Bandicoot sold how many several million copies of something.
Yeah.
It's insane. This year was insane. It was firing from all cylinders. Just remakes coming out that were amazing. Final Fantasy 12 sold over 1 million copies in a remake.
All right, Mario plus Rabbids came out this year and was really good.
And was good. It was. Did it win the category? It was the strategy game.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It won. It won best strategy game. Mario plus Rabbids.
No, when it looks at it from a sales success and definitely a critical, perspective, it did great and probably. I have to imagine it probably did better than maybe Nintendo and Ubisoft maybe thought.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Especially after the initial response.
Obviously, they're not idiots. I'm sure they knew they had a good game on their hands, but it was a decent I would have, if I was an investor and it was my money on the line, I would have been Mario and Rabbids is a very hard sell. And I don't know, because you feel like you've seen this 1,000 times before, right? Where this type of thing would just crash and burn. And the fact that was, that's in the people's end of the year lists.
It might be on mine.
is freaking insane. And I guess I can look
I just brought up that list too.
Yeah.
The Darby. Just the quick things we have on our own. Evil Within 2, South Park, Wolfenstein 2, Assassin's Creed Origins.
Metroid came back this year. And was good. The 2D Metroid came back. Jeff, we're missing the best game of the year. Knack 2. Knack is back. No. Well, an Uncharted game came out this year, and it was very good.
Keep on... okay, Dark, correct me. I guess plug into the podcast again. Did Easy Allies do the exact same thing in this past week? They were talking about games someone mentioned Uncharted,
yeah.
It's kind. I kind of get it because it's technically a DLC expansion thing, and it's it was more of the same, which is not.
It was reusing Uncharted, I think Lost Legacy kind of I know we're just all over the place, but whatever. You know it.
This is fun.
You know what it is at this point. This is what it is.
Bonus episode.
Yeah. Lost Legacy is kind of. I think it's gonna. If Lost Legacy doesn't, if Naughty Dog keeps going with this, we're gonna look back at Lost Legacy as being kind of the start of a new kind of type of game that we have to learn how to message. I feel like Naughty Dog had a very hard time messaging the Lost Legacy because it wasn't really DLC. It was a standalone thing, and it was a standalone story, and it was an 8-hour thing. It was basically another game, but
especially with especially 8-hour game with a $40 price point, which
right,
good.
It makes sense. Yeah. Everything adds up there, but it was reusing the assets of Uncharted 4 and some of the mechanics and everything or whatever. So it was half a new game, half not, and it was really hard to talk about. No one was talking about it like it was a game. You were talking about it was the DLC. That was kind of disingenuous.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because you probably follow this more later. Didn't they kind of first start out saying this was going to be a DLC thing?
It was originally supposed to be a DLC, and then it turned into what it was.
That's probably what started the initial confusion, because people couldn't get that out of their heads.
It was, but even going forward, it's going to be hard to... But, I'm perfectly okay with getting, if Naughty Dog wants to hit the big ones like, Uncharted 4 and then like Last of Us Part 2 or whatever, but in the in-between years, put out a shorter experience that maybe reuses assets or whatever, but tells a different side story. I'm totally, for less money, I'm totally cool with that.
I'm about to say something as someone who's not a fan of Uncharted, so tell me if I'm completely off base and this is not what you as a fan wants. People have been talking of, Uncharted 4 being the end of Drake's story.
Right.
Instead of, trying to do a whole Uncharted 5 thing, why not they just maybe every couple of years do something like this? $40 shorter story using the side characters
I think that would be great.
Yeah, just do that.
And because, like, not that we have enough people listening to this for anyone to come after me, but like Uncharted 4, one of Uncharted 4's biggest problems was it overstayed its welcome. It like was kind of exaggerated, it was drawn out for the sake of being drawn out and stuff. Like, no, I would be perfectly fine with like, tell a smaller like story like this. In between, like I want Naughty Dog to continue making new IP and like go new directions and stuff. But if you want to keep Uncharted alive, like, I think that's a fine direction to go. And then maybe release your big ones in between. But you can even do this like, Left Behind. You played Left Behind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. With Last of Us DLC.
Wait, did you ever play it?
Yeah. Is awesome. It's phenomenal. But imagine if they can make that type of thing like for part 2, but it's a fully realized like 8-hour thing like Lost Legacy was, but it tells that kind of side story. Like you could tell other stories within the Last of Us universe. That would be great. Like it doesn't have to be limited to Uncharted, and it doesn't have to be limited to both these franchises. They could try something new in a smaller game, and then if it works, go from there. It makes it a lot like a lower stakes if it goes poorly. So I think it's a fine business model. You just have to learn how to, message that correctly, which I think is the hardest part. I just started talking. Sorry, going back to
unfortunately with this list, it's pretty much starts at the middle of the year for the.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try to finish the thought that I was first saying. I think this year, because of everything all the tangents we just went on together, it was an amazing year games wise for the industry, which is very important. And just we could probably sit here for 5 hours just remembering games that we forgot about that came out. I guess that's another game I finished. We were trying to think of how many games I beat this year. I did beat Injustice 2. But I kind of, maybe it's just as bad every year, but I feel like sometimes, in some ways, on the industry side of things, this was not as great of a year. Because we had the Visceral closure, we had the loot box just thing. It wasn't just Battlefront 2, it was just the whole year. This was just a nagging thing. It was sometimes appearing and people were overreacting to it, and then sometimes in like the NBA 2K situation or Battlefront 2 situation where it was like actually we were threatening for this to become like a really, really predatory bad thing. Stuff like that. I feel like there was lots of layoffs and stuff this year with that. There was like Spellbound being closed for Microsoft. Just Microsoft generally not having a great year. So you know what I mean? Like there was just, I feel like there's a number of stories. You mean
Scalebound, right?
Scalebound. What did I say?
Spellbound.
Oh, Scalebound.
Like, that's studio I forgot. I was like, oh, he probably means Scalebound.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Well, that from what I heard, almost put Platinum Games, made them bankrupt. So they're lucky. Nier did so well.
Wow. Yeah. But you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I
hear what you're saying. I think that because the byproduct of games becoming more and more expensive, so hard to make, and also just kind of like you said earlier, this is the first year we're following stuff as closely as we are. So
I think that's
it might be one of those things we're just noticing this stuff a lot more, like looking at every single little thing of this instead of just the ones that affect studios that we're interested in.
Right. Because I think overall, like if you take from 2017, what are going to be the big takeaways for gaming going forward or whatever? I mean, number one, Nintendo's back. Nintendo's back and very strong and going well. Number two, if you take like the Hellblade thing, that you can have an independent thing like this, and if you do it right and you build a following and everything, you can really make something work. I guess like just also just indies in general.
I
IO leaving like Square Enix, and they're gonna be okay. Like the fact of you can make it as an independent studio now more than you ever have before.
Yeah, let's say just kind of this has been a thing for the last couple of years, but I feel like it's getting more increasingly so. Like, yeah, indies can make it big. I mean, again, we were talking about earlier, Remains of Edith Finch and Night in the Woods. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah. And I mean,
Shovel Knight continuing.
Shovel Knight, even now,
its reign of terror.
It came out. When did it come out? 2014? I don't know. Something like that. And even in 2017, they
released
still
a new expansion thing.
Right. Yeah.
Which is really good.
Undertale's coming to a bunch of platforms this year and stuff like that. Stardew Valley on Switch. I mean, just like, these games are going everywhere.
Speaking of just indies and Nintendo, Indies doing great on Nintendo.
And like the Switch kind of becoming the new home for that. Used to be the Vita. RIP. So like I think in those like things or whatever. Also like, I mean, open worlds are still like very much a thing that people enjoy with.
Just getting more increasingly. You're like, everyone has to make a really long game.
Yeah.
Or the whole games as a service thing, loot boxes, all that kind of stuff is becoming more prevalent.
Well, and it's also I think an awesome thing of this year was you can have a game that's not like a sequel that people know a whole lot about or like something or whatever, like Nier. Like, no one played the originally, and not many people at all. And
it might as well be if the first game.
It might as well. And then Nier Automata comes here, and just from uniqueness and from like word of mouth, sells like 2 million copies or something like that, which is crazy. That and that those kind of stories are like
Persona
really cool.
completely.
Even Persona, not that obviously Persona has been big for a long time, but not like this.
No, I think it's more that it made its push into quote unquote mainstream.
Yeah.
As a mainstream franchise.
Yeah, which I think is awesome. Yeah. Like, now, like, I mean, you gotta... Persona is basically now in the same conversation, obviously not quite that level, but the same conversation with Final Fantasy as far as these long-running, like, JRPG franchises that are, like, have a, like, cultural meaning around the world.
So that right now people feel better about Persona than Final Fantasy.
This is true. This is true. I'm so interested to see Final Fantasy 16 and what they do with that. Or if they just... Final Fantasy 15 until the end of time. They'll just keep adding stuff.
Stay tuned for our thoughts of Final Fantasy 16 in 2030. Yeah. I had to make the joke. I'm sorry.
The year after Final Fantasy 7 Remake comes out,
that's coming out next year. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, 2019. My head's already in 2018.
Yeah, it might as well already be. We're so close. I don't know. I guess we never really had a structure with this conversation. Do you have any like 2017 things that you wanted to talk about? Sure. I just like threw like random things that happened that we kind of like talked about in a roundabout way. I mean, the biggest thing, like we're gonna have to have a podcast like main topic or something. Just the Switch. I mean, this was Nintendo's year. This was the year of the Switch.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I even, like, wrote, you can look on there, like, nerdsatlarge.wordpress.com. I wrote a thing, just kind of responding to a very, like, pessimistic, like, column that I wrote a year ago after the Switch conference in January. I had no faith in the thing, which I was not alone. That was not a rare take for someone to have. But I do think I was wrong with that. It's obviously that's a fun machine, and I feel optimistic about it going forward.
People are happy right now.
Yeah, very happy.
We'll see what happens at the January Direct.
But I am interested because, like, not that I'm anywhere near done with Mario. Like, I have so much post game stuff, but I did get that feeling when I beat Mario. I was like, oh dang, I don't have a Switch game now. Like, I've had, like, Switch to play for, like, several months now, and I've played so much of it, I'm like, oh, wow, I don't have something immediately right now to play.
Mario plus Rabbids,
Yeah, I need to get something like that. I want Hollow Knight. I wish that wasn't coming out in February. I wish that was a little sooner.
Oh, wait, was it? Did they announce it for February?
I looked up a release date because I was very interested, and I think it said February something. I'm almost certain.
I'm going to have to wait on that. I got too much stuff already. Man, as far as Switch, I got Xenoblade, man.
Yeah.
That's my Switch game for a while.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you were the one that, I mean, you are, I think partially because you are a huge Nintendo fan. You were always going to hope. But, like, did you, even with you being a lot more optimistic about it, everything, did you see it being like selling this much and being this much of a like widely loved and this much of a like gaming phenomenon? Does this surprise you at all, or is this where you thought that they would be?
It's hard for me to say an exact thing, but this might even contradict stuff I said in the past. I don't know, but I'm not. It's not the
Roll
most
the tape.
Yeah, it's not the. I don't find it the most surprising thing. Is just because I'm such a Nintendo fan. I've follow all this stuff and try to see a lot of people's feelings on this.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like the fact that the Switch is a lot more as a product, people get a lot more into it than the Wii U. Could make the big difference right there.
So, I mean, did you like think that this concept, like immediately when you saw it, you thought this was gonna be like? I mean, because basically what this is what the Wii U wanted to be.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm not saying it's you or anything, but I can't even remember your exactly reaction to it after we found out what exactly it was. One way or the other, but I was surprised to see some people being negative about it. I just saw the concept like this is the perfect thing for Nintendo to do.
Yeah,
just because they are the handheld thing, the big handheld people, and then just combining their stuff, and even the whole thing we've been talking about, potentially combining all their studios and focus on one machine.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of honestly, if you go back and look at a lot of the conversations probably before the Switch, like me included, I wasn't doing it on a show, but like me included, I think a lot of us had the wrong idea with Switch. I mean, because it just felt like there was so much riding on this console, and I so did not want Nintendo to just completely fail twice in a row, and I don't know what would have happened after that. So I think that a lot of us were just thinking even I was saying not that I want this, but I was like, they have to have something, not directly like the PS4, like Xbox One or whatever, but they have to have something that is close enough to it to where third parties can put their stuff on it, or they're doomed. Yeah. Because I think that's a logical thing to say because of what the Wii U, what happened with the Wii U and everything. So I think when they first came out with that, I worried. I was like, it's a tablet still. There's a lot of things that are a lot like the Wii U,
and the third party game they're showing is Skyrim. Yeah,
exactly. They're showing a 2011 game on here, or whatever. There was reasons to be worried, and I was like, I might love this thing, but is there going to be a wide enough audience that gets into this to where it'll be a thing? And then that January press conference just kind of made it. I was already I don't know, and then that just made it so much worse. So I stopped having faith in it. Mm-hmm. And I think there is a reality that this same console could have failed, but I think the word of mouth was so good with this, and everyone who it's just. Something is just so Nintendo about this console, and just about snapping onto things. It just works. Yeah, that's the best thing
I know.
I can say about it.
I'm positive I said this when we did it, and I remember your reaction to it. Well, I knew just off what this console is, it was going to do better than the Wii U. That doesn't mean much, right? But that alone would have.
It's about to outsell it in less than a year. So I'd
not necessarily thought I'd do this well, but I knew it would do better. And of course, all that had to do how much. Just based on everything else they did, game wise, and how third parties received and everything. Yeah, which has been better than most people thought.
Yeah, and they've done something that I didn't really think about. Nintendo's proving that they're not getting the Call of Duties, the Star Wars Battlefronts, the Assassin's Creeds, these type of things, because they cannot run on the Switch. That's not going to happen.
And with those kind of games, especially since they're online and everything, and I understand this from, if you play all these games, exclusively, you're not going to want to Switch. It's okay, fine, I get that. For those games, why would you get them on the Switch compared to...
The thing is, I don't think if you are, someone who, really likes to play games or whatever, I still, I love the Switch with all my heart. I do not think you can, have just a Switch and only a Switch if you are, really, really into gaming and stuff. But at this point... 70 million people have PS4s. 30 million people or something like that have Xbox Ones. And so many millions of people have gaming PCs. It's at this point, even if you're only advertising to mostly people who already have consoles. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, Nintendo doesn't have to be number one. They're never going to because Sony's so far ahead of them. But, like, everyone we know who has a Switch also has another console for the most part.
Yeah.
And I think that I didn't anticipate that much, but because it sounds like you're already limiting yourself. Like, if you can't offer them everything, they're just going to go over there. But people, in this day and age, gaming is becoming such a big thing. People are okay with having more than one console. Like, obviously, you have every console, and I have 2 consoles, or modern consoles. You know, and I think that Nintendo has proven that they're okay not having all of that. And because they build up enough of a fan base, like install base, third parties are making stuff for the Switch or porting things to the Switch. And people are saying, like, I'm a lot more likely to play this older game that's ported to if I have it on the Switch because you can just take it everywhere. Yeah. That was a very long, rambly thing, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think what also helps potentially with the numbers, and this is a normal Nintendo thing, could help with more casual people. You know, it's the most kid friendly one.
Yeah,
parents getting in for that or whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
All right, Jeff. Well, we are like running longer than I thought it would. So let's get into like our third random giant block of
let's say first Switch Talk. Yeah, like you said, we're going to do probably a big thing around March.
Yeah, if you listen to gaming podcast, the Switch is like talked about so much you probably hate it at this point.
Well, yeah.
But our third rambling thing, I just want to talk to you because we have not really just sat down and talked about it that much. About God, Mario and Zelda are just 2 freaking insane games this year.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, if you don't like Nintendo or really care for these games, this is probably the rest of the podcast.
Yeah. This is, so if you want to sign out, it's fine.
I guess also spoiler warning.
Yeah, we might spoil some of Mario and Zelda. I'm not, like I don't know where the conversation is going to go. Not that there's really much you can spoil about these games.
I mean, people probably heard this. A couple big moments in Mario I just want to talk about, but are spoiled.
You want to commit to like the very end of this?
We'll get into the in-depth Mario talk.
Yeah.
Okay,
let's just commit to that. So we'll let you know.
Zelda. Well, there's really not much to spoil.
It's not that much. So I guess where do you want to start?
I don't know, Darby. Where do you want to start?
I mean,
you're the one who just finished the game.
I kind of want to talk about. Like, I did play them like back to back. Like, I feel like a lot of other people played it. Like, Zelda way.
I finished Zelda months ago.
Yeah. One of the biggest surprises to me, like, I knew I was gonna love Mario. I knew I was gonna love it just because it's such a like charming game. I love all the other Marios or whatever, and I knew I was going to. But it's not that, I knew that. I just thought that I was probably going to be maybe a few notches down from everyone else because it's just not necessarily.
I honestly figured even the same thing with Zelda, but Mario to a greater thing. When I was talking, and I was like, I'm hoping I'm not building up too much for him. There's always that fear.
Yeah. Oh, I do that.
We'd be like, come back like, I don't see what the big deal was. And because we get again. I see enough of that on the internet for both of those games.
Yeah. I didn't think I was going to be quite that. Like, I could just see myself being like, yes, it's a very well-made game. I could just, maybe it didn't completely hit with me. It did. It completely did. A lot of the same, compliments I had for Zelda I have for this. They figured out the gameplay loop of playing this to a perfection because it's just every few minutes you're finding something new, some new mechanic, some new thing to possess, some hidden moon in somewhere or whatever. Every few minutes with no downtime, no boring slogs, nothing that felt uneven or something. Yeah,
at least the main story. You might get some of that in the post.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Which is it's the post game.
That's the way it works.
It's the post game. That's how it's going to be.
Especially with a collective file.
Yeah, but usually these games, and with the sheer amount of stuff that's in this game, you would think you would hit those walls at some point, but it was no, there are very, very, very few repeated mechanics across the different worlds. And
I think it helps that for the most part, the stuff you possess are different throughout there. And from a lot of the kingdoms, there's like one specific one that's everywhere. Like that's the main mechanic of the world, and all those were really good.
And even though like sometimes they had things that were like, oh, there's this in every kingdom, but where it is and how you get it is like different every single time. And just visually, the game's stunning. It's Nintendo. It's that Nintendo charm, that Nintendo art style, but kind of brought into the modern world where there's like particles and there's like individual glistening sand and like the grass looks like detailed and stuff. It's like the perfect combination.
See, games like this in Zelda is why I'm not, worried, at least for Nintendo games that power the Switch.
Yeah, because I mean, like they still have that art style thing. It's obviously this doesn't look realistic, but it looks amazing. Yeah. It's and honestly, one thing going into this, I thought the sheer amount of moons was one thing I thought I was going to have more of it. Like, it just seemed a little overwhelming to me and a little much. I was like, just from the outside looking in before I got into it, I was just like, I just kept thinking, like, well, Mario 64 and stuff like that, and even Galaxy and stuff, I was like, yeah, there's a lot less stars or whatever, but they mean something when you get them. And I thought that Odyssey was I thought that was gonna be one of my complaints, was that moons just mean nothing because there's too many of them. But I think they did the moons like serve like two purposes. There are like the very hard moons to find there, but what I didn't know is all those other moons, like even if they're just hidden in the world somewhere, almost all of them have something to them that you have to like find out. And even when they don't, it keeps that, like, seeing the moon count like go up every time is so satisfying. It's just a dumb, satisfying thing.
I think people overblew a little bit the amount, moons when, people said, there's just a lot of these moons are just sitting there.
Yeah.
I mean, technically they are sitting there, but it's not nearly as much, you can see like half a dozen just lay down in the world.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. And I think like probably a lot of that was like in the first kingdom. There was a few there, but it's the first kingdom. They're introducing you.
There was one in particular where I was like, yes, that one, yes, it is there. But
yeah.
That one's you got to look around. It's just a reward for looking around and exploring, which is fine.
Yeah. Oh, and there was a lot of things, like I feel like in other games, there was a lot of things that I would go and do, like not expecting, like, oh, I'm just messing around in this game. Like, this is not going to give me a moon. I'm like, oh, wait. It did, or something, or I would just hit something, or like I don't have very good. I'm just being very vague. I don't have good examples, but it was always rewarding you for being curious, which is something I love. Also, another thing that I didn't know was going to be quite this good was the music in this game is so good. Every kingdom has such a like unique. Like just like songs to it. Every kingdom has like different instruments. It's like not even like most of the marketing and stuff for Mario has been like the big band music and stuff like that, which is awesome, and I kind of assumed that was going to be everywhere, but it's like no, there's electric guitar in this kingdom, there's piano in this one, there's like saxophone, like heavy like jazz in this one, and there's just like nice relaxing stuff. It was I think the like soundtrack of this is one of the best I've ever played in a long time, and it accompanied the gameplay of it just perfect.
So now you understand why I voted for Mario.
Yeah, I did. I do. I guess I voted for Persona, and I think
I don't blame you.
I think they both work in very similar ways like that, where they're perfect for the game.
Though we're probably wrong, and it's probably near based on what everyone said.
Yeah, that is true. That's also true.
I need to play that game.
Yeah, I don't know. I know I'm just rambling, but I think I texted. I think you got my text where I said that Mario. I think I would still give Zelda the edge, just barely. It's close, and so Mario is like definitively my number 2 above Horizon, which is crazy.
Yes,
I loved Horizon so much, and it's kind of like seems like an insult that it's number 3, but it's really not. These games are just so good, and I think like the only reason, just when I think about the sheer amount of time Zelda was like a 95 hours, of just constant, like, I was finding new things. And when I think back to, like, especially when I got, like, off the Great Plateau and you're finding all these things, there was something just so special about that, where, like, Mario hits a lot of the similar veins, but I think maybe Zelda hits them just a tad bit better for me.
Here's the thing, and I know it's not necessarily the case for you, but this is the case of arguing against two of my favorite games of all time.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they're easily two of the best games I've played probably ever. I mean, they're both phenomenal video games. They just the whole way through.
So, Nerds at Large, game of the years number 1 and 2 for sure. Zelda.
Yeah,
I mean, just because we both play them and think
they just might be flipped. Jeff can't make up his mind.
Sorry, Will.
Yeah, get a Switch, Will.
So if I had this thought when driving here, when I was thinking about that text, I put Mario number 1, and if we do the whole we just did a stupid point thing about that,
then they would,
Mario and Zelda would share a game of the year. For us.
They would tie.
Unless Will did something
that'd be
weird.
like the most BS. Like if we were an actual outlet that was more into people, like if IGN came out and said, "Oh, Zelda and Mario both win Game of the Year," you would barf into your computer. It'd be like the worst.
This would be a technicality.
Yeah. This we can't help it.
Yeah,
but I don't think
that's why we're not gonna do an official.
Yeah, there's no point in doing that when there's 3 of us.
I know that just gives an advantage to just
there's
any game
3 of
two
us,
of
and
us
it's
like thought highly, or a game we all happen to play that we like.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's a good chance it would just end up being Horizon because Will's playing Horizon now.
No.
So 2 of us have played. Or I guess because 2 of us
that's Zelda and Mario.
Yeah, you're right.
And we both think highly.
Well, there's too few of us to do this. It doesn't make sense at all. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's the spoiler stuff I want to get into. So, you want to talk about any Zelda stuff?
I mean, I guess, do you have any... I mean, like, I don't know. Did you expect either of these games to be as good as they were? Because, like...
Yes, I did. Just everything leading up to it. I mean, there was always the chance of this is not as good as it looks.
Yeah.
Then it exceeds what it looks like.
Yeah.
Like, both of them.
I guess one thing, just random. This whole thing's been rambling, but I think I talked about this to you on the podcast. I think it was just us talking individually. I can't even remember anymore. But I was talking about for Zelda moving forward, and this is not anything against Breath of the Wild. I just gushed about Breath of the Wild forever. It's my number 1 game of the year. I kind of hope that in the next Zelda, they kind of end up doing a hybrid of like things that they learned in elements of Breath of the Wild and in elements of more traditional Zelda or even traditional 3D Zelda like Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess and stuff, where you have like more of the story in doing this. Because I mean, like we've said it over and over again, the Breath of the Wild story is almost non-existent, and what's there is not great. But that's not the point. Because I feel like even if they try to make another Breath of the Wild, and even if it's just as good, even if it's a little better, if it's the same that type of thing again, it's not going to hit as well with people because Breath of the Wild was such a experience. Like playing Breath of the Wild for the first time was just such a like groundbreaking experience. I've never had something like this before. And if you just do that again, it'll be like, okay, well, I've experienced this before.
Yeah, and then it'll feel more like a slog.
Yeah. So I don't envy them. Yeah. I think it's going to be very hard to make another Zelda game after this and make it not feel derivative of Breath of the Wild. But if you veer too much off of it, they're going to be like, you're veering away from this great thing you did, you know?
Yeah. This is no surprise. I think I read an interview with the head Zelda producer. Don't remember his name, but he pretty much said, "Yeah, after this, we can't like go away from this. We have to. And the game has to be in this generation."
It almost like I think we talked about their fiduciary duty.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense from just a money perspective either. To like this thing worked so well, so let's do something completely different. That it doesn't make sense.
I think I also mentioned this, and it's hard for me to explain exactly what I mean because these are my 2 favorite Zelda games. If they can somehow combine the elements of Breath of the Wild with some of the story elements of Majora's Mask.
Right. I think, and people have said a lot, like, I wonder if, like, they went to all the work to make this insane open world and this awesome like these mechanics and stuff with Zelda that's so deep and so awesome. Like, I wonder if they will do a Majora's Mask type thing and use that engine, use those assets, but turn it on its head and make it more darker or just a different type of story within that and release it a lot sooner than we think. Yeah. I could see that happening.
Potentially, but then it still just runs into the whole thing. I think it was, I hate to say easier, but easier to do for, during Ocarina of Time to Majora's Mask than doing a whole big open world. But again, the whole thing we were just saying earlier, making.
But even if it's not open world, just using those assets, like it might the textures and stuff might look the same, but it's a more of a linear thing.
I feel like with this game, they bought themselves like some goodwill in time, because we wait. Well, it's 2011 when we got Skyward Sword. We can wait for the next big 3D.
It's going to be like 4 years.
Give us something like A Link to the Past, that kind of thing.
As
in the meantime, may not necessarily that obvious handheld title type thing, but top-down 2D Zelda, whatever. Give us something like that.
I have faith in them, but like I said, I don't envy them. I think this is going to be one of the hardest hauls they've ever done, is trying to do the next Zelda from those.
I mean, you can say the same about Mario.
And the exact same thing for Mario.
Yeah,
and also what just another entirely different, like, it's kind of weird how like similar but different these games are, because Zelda was amazing because it went in a completely new direction with Zelda, with the franchise or whatever. Mario was great because it did kind of go in a new direction, but it also played hard on the nostalgia, but not in a greedy way.
Yeah.
It delved just enough into nostalgia, but also pulled that nostalgic element, like pulled the Mario 64 type game into 2017.
Yeah, but it just added a whole bunch of things.
Yeah. But I worry about Mario Odyssey because it's like, if you do it again, like, at what point is just nostalgia too much nostalgia? Yeah. At what point, like, because Odyssey is kind of a tale of two games. Like, it has the nostalgic elements and it has the new elements, and it like constantly just pulls back and forth between the two, and it works. But I don't know what you do for another one.
Yeah. And what is interesting about this? I mean, it obviously depends on how long the Switch's life cycle is. We got both these games in the first year of this console.
It's insane. Yeah.
So
and that's why, like, I don't even think it's an insult or like, I don't even think it's like a doom and gloom thing to say that Nintendo's 2018 can't be as good as this.
Yeah,
Nintendo 2017, and I think that's fine.
I think most people, I've been kind of saying that, but most, kind of like what you just said. Some people are like more positive about, like, like who expects them to have games like Mario and Zelda caliber, except potentially Metroid Prime 4. I don't think it'd even be that, but that'd be the closest thing potentially.
Yeah. And
some people are like, then it's not gonna be nearly as good, man. It's in Dune,
Yeah, I think they've bought themselves enough goodwill to have a good year, not the best year ever.
We'll talk about this more in the future, but I mean, they obviously got to consistently release titles, or at least have some of their third party people who are working on exclusive things working on it. We've talked about this before. They got Project Octopath Traveler coming out this upcoming year. They got No More Heroes 3. They got Shin Megami Tensei. They got Bayonetta 3. I mean, not all those are coming out this year, obviously, but they got those kind of third-party exclusives to go on.
And who knows what else, because it feels like ever since, at least to me, it feels like ever since the Switch has been released, Nintendo and just everyone putting things on the Switch has been doing a lot more of, like, they announce it and then release it very shortly afterwards. So, there's probably tons of stuff we don't know about.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Some people are, I'm saying, like, we don't know anything about 2018. It's like, yeah, but we didn't know anything about 2017 other than Zelda.
Yeah.
And with that, we were getting seeing a Mario game before the January event.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to get a water.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah, we got the January Direct, or, we're thinking we do, / leaked, whatever. So we'll get more of that, but, we got Kirby, we got Yoshi. Those always sell pretty good, for the most part.
Yeah, and these kind of, I don't know, I hate to say it like this, cause it just sounds bad, but like, this is almost like new Nintendo. Like, I trust this Nintendo more than the Wii U, one, and I think that they'll make Yoshi and Kirby like different games and new.
Mm-hmm. Yoshi might be more a chill experience, fine. Kirby isn't like he's doing it much so crazy different, but we haven't had a console Kirby. Kirby's
It looks solid. It looks like the Kirby mechanics.
When are Kirby games bad? Other than that Battle Royale one that 3DS account this year, but that's different. That's a spin-off thing. Mainline Kirby things. When are they ever bad? They're always at least decent. I'm interested in this game.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun multiplayer thing, and we got Fire Emblem coming out. We know that. Or it's at least scheduled. Yeah. We don't know what Retro's working on. I can see that getting announced and we getting that this year.
Yeah. I could see either
Animal
a direct
Crossing.
or like E3 or something.
We could get a Smash port. There are a lot of things they could do.
I really I think this is a conversation for another day, but I'm very interested for both like Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing. What do their Switch versions look like? And Pokemon. Like, what does a Switch Pokemon look like?
That's also a discussion for another day. I feel like people are hyping themselves up too much.
Also something that I had not thought about until, once again, we're going to plug in on the podcast, but Easy Allies, again, I think they talked about this week, how like someone mentioned like, yeah, Game Freak is they have a small number of people on their team and they make very primitive like JRPGs and stuff. What are we expecting them to do if we want them to make like an RPG? Do we really want them to be the ones that making it? And it's like, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. So
maybe we're hyping ourselves too much. Like, yeah. I mean, I always go crazy off the rails when they're talking about, but that's more hopes and dreams than this is what I expect to happen.
Yeah. They get hype stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like this. I kind of like our like just rambling discussion we've had here. It's just gone in a million different ways.
Can't do it too often, but this is a good time.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's the end of the year, whatever. Are you ready to just go into just spoiler talk for?
Yep, let's do it.
I think specifically Mario. Probably. You think they're good if they played Zelda?
Yep.
I can't really think of anything I would really want to say that would be spoiler for Zelda.
Yep, this is the thing. For a story stuff, like you just said, there's not much to it.
It's all like what you experience with the gameplay.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of both of these games are mostly gameplay, but there are a few things in Mario that,
there are things in Mario I would not want someone to know before going in. Right. Just because,
Okay, so from this point onward, make sure you have either played Super Mario Odyssey or
just don't care.
Or you just don't care. Also, I guess keep your voice down a little bit because Alex can hear us.
Hi, Alex.
All right. Okay, so the end of Mario. I saw it coming, but it didn't make it any less awesome. Oh, one part of it, the Peach's Castle thing with the Mario 64 stuff. It soon, I was playing it with my sister and my brother-in-law, and I was saying as soon as we got to the moon place where the wedding was going on or whatever, I saw the chapel. I guess I got at first when I first saw the chapel, I was like, oh, that's gonna become Peach's Castle or something. Obviously that's not how it worked or whatever, but I knew from that point I was like, oh, they're gonna do it. And as soon as I beat it, it comes up and I'm like, yes. And that whole section is just it's just a complete nostalgia grab, but you don't care. It's like, I don't care.
It's been 20 years. And
you could, and everyone loves that game so much. So I guess that's, people were like, oh, is Mario Odyssey like the Super Mario 64, sequel that we've always wanted? Yes. Definitively to the point where, you can buy the costume. It makes the noises.
Yes.
It has the paintings.
Yes, it's
everything.
Good.
Everything you want, and God, it's so good. That was such an awesome moment.
Yeah, I texted you though. I found about it before the post game,
which is that seems like you said you found it in a painting in the Lunch Kingdom.
Yeah, in the Luncheon Kingdom. It's behind a mountain or something. I don't know, hill thing. There's a painting. It was obvious. Peach Cat's jumping,
and it took you to the mushroom.
Yeah, it took to Yoshi's house, which is far off, you see in the distance.
That seems like they should not have done that.
I kind of see that, but it didn't take anything away from it because it's in the game.
Yeah, but if you had gone in there not knowing anything, if you just, I don't know, I feel like they should have just left that kingdom off of the paintings to travel, but whatever, that's just fine.
But I honestly forgot about it by the time I got to that point. It's oh yeah. No, it's fun. I think there's Yoshi's house. There's a chimney or whatever. It's okay, I can wall jump off of it, and then you get the star. It's Cappy's like, oh yeah, the noise, and Cappy's like, oh, the King of the Moon. Oh, I guess they're different. They look different in different places. Yeah, so the thing is like, oh, starting 64 where moons all along. Like, I'm okay with this.
Yeah, that was awesome, and the whole Bowser moment.
I mean, I think we all figured going in. You're going to.
We gotta do it. We gotta do it at some point.
You had to take care of you. Yeah, you knew you were gonna take over Bowser.
This is just like God. Like honestly, just got to be so much just wish fulfillment at the end. And it's fan service in like the best possible form of the word.
Music, you carrying Peach, and you going into the 8-bit or whatever thing, and you're calling Bowser a Peach on your back.
It's so good. Like God, I know we're such nerds, but like it was.
Loved it.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. And like I had my sister and brother-in-law who also everyone's played Mario. Everyone knows that. And as soon as like we went into the pipe and it came out, it was that they were like, "Oh, that's so awesome!" Like my brother-in-law was like, I mean, he said that over and over. He's like, they did a really good job with this game. Like when I was just doing all these, which is awesome. Even someone who doesn't play these very often, like everyone has nostalgia for those things. And the fact that it hit like the 2D nostalgia and the 3D nostalgia and everything. And just like, I like spent a lot of this morning just running around Peach's Castle and running around like the kingdom and everything. It's so awesome. I don't know, do you have any specifics with that? I haven't done that much in it yet. I just beat the game last night, but
I guess some people can have the argument they didn't go as far as they could with that. Some people are hoping they did Babam, whatever the first painting remade that. They didn't, unfortunately. You go in the Peach Castle, it's not that big.
Yeah, I like joke that like, well, if you go to the Peach's Castle, it's just all of Mario 64. You just play the entire game right here.
I mean, that'd be the best thing ever, but. We can't get everything.
The file size can't be that big for Mario 64. Come on,
it can't be that big to make a whole remake
game within a game. No, it doesn't even have to be a remake. Just drop the game in there, just right there.
No, I think they did what they need to do for it.
Yeah,
the nostalgia thing.
No, I think they did. They did Yeah, it was great.
Oh wait, have you found a capture thing in Peach's?
No, I haven't. I have done very little in it. I just beat the game.
Okay, that's something I want to spoil for you.
Yeah. I mean, I think all I did
because it was a magical moment as well.
I made Mario's face in the sky and made it very bad, but apparently good enough to get a star. So that was fine. That was one of the only things I did. I guess just the other while we have our chance, we're in our spoiler section of Mario. That festival was so good, and especially the fact that they were able to put Jump Up Superstar, like the Jump Up Superstar segment in there, and have me still feel it and like love it and everything, even though I had heard the song 1,000 times because of marketing and just like E3 and everything else. Like the song was not new to me, like it might be to other people picking up Mario, and I still was just like, this is so good.
Yeah, like I've said before, I'm not still. I picked Mario when we did that whole Game Award thing. I'm not completely sure Zelda Mario. But something that could put Mario over the edge is, while Zelda did have some of those emotional moments, like you said, getting off the Great Plateau for the first time.
Right.
Mario with the festival, controlling Bowser and stuff, going to the Mushroom Kingdom.
It definitely has more of that sort of thing. I think Zelda is just more of like, it maintains this awesome sense of discovery the whole way, but there's not nearly as many like pulling out the Master Sword is nowhere near like the festival. If we're just talking about emotional moments and stuff like that. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
And the festival when you see Donkey Kong.
Yeah. I saw like the DK and stuff. I was like, oh, that's neat. And then I got up there. I'm like, oh wait, it's actually.
I can't remember if you said.
I should have assumed because there were barrels, but
I can't remember. Did you do that the first time with Jenny and Wolfie?
Yes.
How they react to that?
They thought it was awesome too. I mean, they loved this game, like just watching from me doing it.
Oh yeah, how would you react when you got to the Lost King? Not the Lost King. The dragon place.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. That was also like my brother-in-law was like, "This is a Mario game." He's like, "That looks like a Zelda."
The other
boss,
night when I was here, that
like a Zelda boss, not Mario.
I was here the other night that I was hinting about because I knew you were at that spot. I didn't know you didn't.
Oh, that makes sense now because you said like, "Oh, the Mario boss that doesn't seem like a Mario boss." I was like, No.
Yeah, because you're saying going to Bowser's Kingdom, like, I knew that was right before that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you didn't have
I had not clicked it
yet.
yet.
Okay.
It was just like I beat the Lunch Kingdom, and that was it. Came up, and so that that was like, what are we doing here? And I love the Odyssey just like embraces the weird.
Yeah,
it like so embraces.
Well, I'm complaining about that.
weirdness.
That wasn't like more of a full kingdom.
yeah, but
was that a little more? But
I mean, that was just the design of that dragon was freaking crazy.
Yeah.
It was like really, really well done. So.
Yeah. Oh man, how about Bowser's Kingdom?
Yeah. That was one thing I do want to say. It's like, I mean, obviously at the very end, it became traditional Bowser with like the lava and stuff at the very end before you went there or whatever. But Bowser's actually castle, I kind of love that. Like, you know, we've had 1,000 Mario games or whatever, and every time you get the Bowser thing, it's always kind of just the same. You know, lava, mountains, and fire, and it just looks like hell. I love that they did a very like unexpected and cool twist on it and made it the Japanese type like palace and stuff like that. I was not expecting that at all. And like again, me and everyone was playing, like Jenny and my brother-in-law were.
Sounds like you played all the important moments with them.
It seems like I did, just like not even meaning to. And they were both like, whoa, I did not expect this to be like a Japanese palace. And just, they even said, like, sometimes I was running through it and they were like, wait, stop. I'm like, just look up. Just look at this for a second. And I'm like, yeah, I should just stop and look more often because you just get so busy doing everything. It's just, like, such a beautiful, like, area. And just, yeah.
I just love those birds you take over for most of the...
Oh, yes. Yeah. I was going to say that's by far my favorite, thing we ever possessed. We were like laughing so much at those things because they just look so stupid with their like beaks cut out.
But it's so fun to do.
Oh, it was great.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think I was somewhat worried about it, and some people worried about that possessing would not be fun. Like they feel like they're just kind of tacked on
because they lean so hard into it.
Worried about, but I had trouble thinking of one that I felt like was bad feeling possessing it or anything, but. Like the bird, whatever that vine thing is in the Wooded Kingdom that stretches up and down.
Yeah, I love the roly poly things.
Oh yeah, the worms that stretch.
Yeah, those are great too.
All those felt so good, and they did really good job using those mechanics into in the kingdoms.
And shout out to my boy the frog. I mean, it was OG, but he's still.
Oh yeah, just also going back to Bowser real quick, possessing Bowser and going through the memories of all the past games.
That was awesome. I was like, yeah, Mario, see, this is painful and this is messed up. Maybe you shouldn't be possessing people.
Yeah, and also that's the whole thing. It makes you realize, oh yeah, this happens every single time you possess.
Like, we really, overshadow how messed up this is. Mario's running around, like, possessing people. Yeah. He even, I think if you possess Lakitu and you get out of him, he's like, what just happened? Yeah. I'm like, Mario, this is messed up. You should not be doing this to people.
Oh, Solly possessing this game so good.
Yeah, I can just talk about this game forever. It's so freaking good.
Again, Darby, this and Zelda, same year. Okay, Darby, real quick.
Yeah.
Since you've said right now Zelda and Mario are your top two games. In the beginning of this year, did you ever thought your top two games would be Nintendo games?
No, I didn't think I would have even gotten to Zelda and Mario at this point because I didn't think I would have the console to do so in.
That's proves how good they did this year.
Yeah. I could have seen Zelda if I got my hands on it. It would have been up there, but I would have assumed that Mario was up there, but not especially just with how much I loved Horizon. Yeah. And I'm worried about this once again. I was worried about my love for Horizon getting misrepresented or overshadowed just by Zelda being above it. Now I have two games above it, but I loved Horizon. It did so many things right. And I probably wouldn't have thought that it would have gotten up there. But it's just when I think about it, I mean, Horizon had some problems and some just traditional game thing and some dull moments and some bad writing in areas. For the most part, it was great. But Mario and Zelda both, I struggle to even think of negative things to say about them. They knocked it out of the park.
Kind of helps Zelda and Mario. We mentioned Zelda's story again. It can be non-existent, but they're just pure gameplay for the most part.
Well, and the way that I judge almost everything, movies and games and everything, is was it try to do and how well does it succeed in doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Zelda is not trying to tell a story. It's trying to make an amazing game, and
Yeah.
it succeeds in that amazingly. Mario, kind of the same thing. Horizon is trying to tell a story, and sometimes it does fall flat, but most of the time it's great. So, yeah, that's kind of where I get with that. But I think we probably need to get out of here. Our gaming hour turned into a gaming hour and a half, but
I knew this was going to happen.
I know us, so this is just how it goes. But
especially trying to fit VR Zelda.
I enjoyed this. Hopefully someone else does. I hope they do. I kind of liked having no rules and you just like ramble on about anything.
Yeah.
I might break it out into like things because we did talk about different things, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Like for separate, I'll have one big thing and then other like
Yeah. So we might repeat some of the General's 2017 stuff whenever Will gets back.
Yeah, Will.
He's not watching this part.
Speaking of Will, if you are a Star Wars fan, which chances are you are. You're not like Jeff. Guy. Yeah, Jeff is the anomaly. You can check out me and Will recorded a Star Wars The Last Jedi spoiler cast that you can find on podcast services under Nerds at Large Spoilercast or just on our YouTube channel.
Link right here. Now I got to insert it, Darby.
and here. Link somewhere you can find it. I'm sure I'll put it in the description of this video. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go check that out. We talked for like an hour about it, and I think we had a very interesting discussion. And you can see how we feel about it. We're both very mixed, like everyone is. Or some people love it, some people hate it. We're both pretty somewhere in the middle there. So definitely go check that out. We also did a Doki Doki Literature Club spoiler cast. That's a much smaller audience that would be into that, but that's there too.
Okay, I just want to say real quick, I am pleasantly surprised at how much stuff many places I've seen putting Doki Doki Literature Club in top